everybody. Yes, thank you for being here, first of all. Thank you for your patience with waiting for this, me to get my next video out. It takes me forever sometimes, and sometimes I don't even realize how fast time goes by and how long it has been since I did the last video. And I guess it's been over a month, so I apologize. But before we begin, please like, subscribe, share. I appreciate it. Comment, that'd be great. So this video, as I promised, I'm going to talk about my ET experiences. I will also include um, a couple other people I know that I'm going to share their experiences that I've been given permission. One being my brother, and then the other a friend. So from South America. And so I want to share these experiences first to kind of open people up to the idea that ETs are pretty much every frequency, every dimension, every density. So just because they're ET doesn't mean they're in physical. They are also higher vibrational energy existing as a group consciousness, or they could be physical like us, but the human body actually is pretty dense compared to most beings in this universe. So what I'll do, first of all, I want to give a little bit of background. So this will probably be a two-parter video, just because I have a lot to cover. First, I've been reading a book, and I want to share this book with everyone, and I highly, highly recommend it. And I came across it by accident because I was reading another book, and at the end of the book, there were suggestions on different books by that same publishing company. And I came across it actually years ago, but I never had thought about reading it. And I guess what I figured out, it was I would not have been ready for the information at that time. So I highly recommend this. I already recommended it to a few people that I know, and I will put the link in the description box. I'll just put the link to on Amazon. That's where I had bought it. I'm sure there's other places you can buy it too, but it's called The Explorer Race by Robert Shapiro. And he has a series. This is a 14-book series, actually, so it's quite extensive. I'm about 2/3 through this book, almost already. It's almost 600 pages, so it's pretty long. But I want to give a background because I want to really help people understand how connected we really are as a race. Whether you're a starseed doesn't much matter, or we're all basically ET, we're all basically starseeds. Okay. So I will summarize just a little bit from that book because I don't want to give too much in case you decide to read it. There is a ton of information in there. I have never read material books besides Dolores Cannon that I was actually that shocked by. Not really shocked, but really a wow factor. How this whole experience on Earth here, how it all started, where it all come from. This book gives you a complete historical reference. The author actually channels a Zeta being, and in case you don't know who the Zetas are, they're a group of grays, basically. A lot of people think they're negative, but there are different factions of grays, just like there are a different faction of humans. Look how many evil and dark humans there are out there. So if you take in consideration, this group has been helping the planet for quite some time. I've actually channeled them. So I'll explain. Okay, so basically, how do I say it? First of all, this grand experiment on Earth had started millions of years ago. Okay, so this third density Earth, third dimensional Earth, was created millions of years ago when the original inhabitants of this planet, which were called the Undazi, they are fully ascended beings of light. They have been here since the beginning of civilizations. They live within this Earth at a different dimension, though, so they don't exist in this frequency, but they use the same space. They are light beings. However, they can take a form of anything they want to: rock, tree, animal. I'll give you an example: Sasquatch. Okay. When the first visitors arrived, the Andazi were actually in like kind of a Sasquatch form, not quite looking like Sasquatch, but they had almost like a feline face, but they have hair all over their body. And they just were utilizing a body just to experience the physical. So when the first inhabitants arrived, or visitors, they came from Sirius, the star system Sirius. Now, there's a lot of reference to the Bible information in here because there's a lot of hidden information that was never in the Bible that actually is incorporated in this book. So there's a lot of links to this prophecy and a lot of links to biblical reference. And you'll understand why when you read this book, if you decide to read it. So the beings that came from Sirius were 144,000 of them, which is referenced in the Bible, actually. The 12 tribes that came together, 144,000. 12 tribes, 12,000 each, okay? So in the Bible, though, it talks about tribes. It doesn't actually give, it doesn't really, it just says the 12 tribes of blah, and 12 tribes of so-and-so, okay? So anyway, these 144,000 came in a ship to escape from their planet in Sirius, which was a negative planet. They needed to get away, so they escaped, and they found Earth to be a place where they could inhabit. They came here, but they didn't live on the surface. When they saw the Undazi, they thought the Undazi were lower life form, okay? They thought they were an animal-like, even though they weren't. They were actually much higher in dimension than the beings of Sirius were. Now, the beings of Sirius, a lot of the different races came from the different races that were involved in the genetic human hybrid makeup, okay? So I'll go into that because I want to show you, I want everyone to understand why there's such a strong connection to different ET races on this planet, because this is super, super important, and it's going to be going forward as we shift in this galaxy, in this universe, okay? So the 144,000 came. They decided their original thought was to help the Andazi, to help them to create a hybrid race to basically speed up their evolution, right? But they did it because they wanted to help. Well, they didn't realize the Andazi were actually fully ascended already, so they didn't need help. The Andazi let it happen. They said, "Yeah, that's fine. You can come here." So when they created a hybrid, the first hybrid, it was African American, Africa. That's the first hybrid. So that's where the African American, they have darker skinned. The beings that came from Sirius were darker skinned. That was that race. Then other races came that were contacted by the creator of this universe, because each universe has a creator in it, a creator being or creator beings. And the creator being actually contacted other races to say, we would like you to participate in this experiment with Earth um, to create a human hybrid race. They wanted a different groups of races, genetically mixed races, to live on this planet so they could commingle because it was an experiment, and I'll go into that a little bit. So the Arcturians came, the Palladians came, the Orions came, the Andromedans came, and so on, and many other races. And what they did is they each had established outposts on this planet Earth where they could do research and they could to create the hybrid using the Andazi genetic makeup, DNA, with their own. And this created the different races. So, you got the Caucasian, the very light skinned, which would be from the Pleiades. You got the African Americans, which is Sirius. The Andromedans, well, there's a faction of the Zetas, the Greys, which are, there's a advanced race of the Greys that were the Asian. So you got all these mixture, okay? And it created that human hybrid. That is where the human hybrid came from, the body. So the human genetic makeup is a mixture of all of these races, okay? So the whole experiment was told that because there's been a lot of negative energy in this universe, a lot of wars, a lot of galactic wars, a lot of violence, a lot of negativity. A lot of the races, and rather than deal with that negativity, they decided to ignore it, just push it off. So that unbalanced conflict, or people could say karma, whatever, was pushed to the side, not to deal with it. They didn't want to deal with it. So, for example, the Palladians decided to, after their invasion by the Dracos and that reptilians in their star system, they decided to cut out the negative emotions. So they got rid of it out of their genetics. It weaned it out of their genetics, okay? So they don't experience the negative emotions. But the problem with that, and a lot of these other races, is by ignoring these things, it creates a stagnant or a point in their evolution where they cannot go past a certain point because they need conflict or they need some kind of resolve to their conflicts. So they decided to, what was originally in this space was like the new Earth or the Terra planet, okay? Terra was a higher vibrational planet here. They decided to bring down the vibration, and they went back in time. They wanted to go back in time, and they created this third dimensional Earth. The whole purpose the creator allowed, because every time a race of beings that doesn't deal with conflict or issues and they just put it in their subconscious, the creator itself of the universe, it goes into the subconscious. So it becomes unbalanced energy. That unbalanced conflict, unbalanced energy has to be dealt with somehow. So they created the human race to deal with it. That is why there's so much violence, so much conflict, so much problems on this planet, is because the human race is solving all of the universes, this universe here, all of the conflict from all these races, all of it. So that is why there's so much conflict in this, on this planet. The original 144,000 Syrians that came here first had a council of 9, okay? This council of 9 made up of these 144,000, they represented them. The council of 9 was contacted by a representative of the creator of this universe and said that we just warn you that you should allow this Earth experiment, allow the race here, the human hybrid, to be able to be in contact with other races of this galaxy or this universe, because it would be for their benefit. And let that negativity go out there so other races can deal with their unresolved issues. The Council of 9 didn't want to do that, so they decided to keep the planet Earth in this third dimension secluded from everybody else. That is why there's that non-interference clause, okay? So By doing that, though, and creating all this here, this is where it created the secrecy in the governments and that working with ETs and things like that. And that is why there has been this secrecy for so long. Okay. So, of the Council of Nine in that original Syrians, four of them didn't want to didn't want to deal with this project experiment, so they went to the Pleiades. Another four went to Orion star system, and the only one that stayed was Jesus, Sananda. He stayed with the earth as to be one of the overseers of that Council of Nine. He decided to incarnate on this planet to help bring the creator energy through him to teach people how to love through their heart, through the creator, how they can heal themselves, how they can use telekinesis and telepathy. He tried to teach that to people. But there are other things that the reason why humans are so far technologically advanced, why they're so into technology. Technology, basically in medicine, was a way to cut. What happened was it created a disconnect from the creator energy. Okay, that is why it feels like we're cut off here on this planet away from creator. We still have a link, but it feels like we're cut off from everybody else, and that's because it was done. That happened unintentionally. So Jesus tried to show everyone how to to uh, to heal and try to love through, use the energy through creator to do these things. Okay. So I don't want to go into too much any more than that. I just wanted to really explain a little bit of history. So really, once this phase and this is done, once we shift, the amazing thing is the human race will actually take on the creator role of this universe. They will be the creator beings of this universe. They will oversee everything in this universe. The current creator will move on to a closer connection to the prime creator, the infinite creator of all. Okay. So that is what's going to happen. That is the gift that is being given to the human race for their willingly participation to resolve all this unresolved conflict in this universe. That pretty much blew me away when I read that. That will happen. Now, not all humans are ready. Like I said, not all are ready to ascend. Those that do not make it and do not awaken will have to stay with the old third dimensional earth. And I don't want to go into that because it talks more about it, but I'll just say they have to stay with the old 3D earth and go through the death process, okay? The rest will shift out of this vibration and move into a higher frequency vibration and go back into the future. The old earth, 3D earth, will go into another universe. It will just go right into a different universe. The rest, that time loop where we're here now of the past, will be closed. It'll be done. And we will go back to the future, back to our future selves. Everything, every conflict that happened will be uncreated in this universe. The planet in the asteroid belt, Maldek, was blown up. That will be put back together like it was before the war there. Mars, everything that happened that was destructive will be uncreated. Okay, that will happen. And it will give the different races basically a chance to start over. That's major. That is huge when I read that. And reading this book really has put things in perspective a lot more, a lot of unanswered questions. So I highly recommend it, even though it was written in the 1990s. But the information is relevant to what we're going through. Okay, so I'm already at almost 20 minutes and I am so sorry. I want to share a couple of experiences. Okay, so first I want to share with a couple of people, one of my friends, an ET experience that he had. He's from Chile. he had a visit with, he had been going through some struggles. He's a really good friend, and without going into his struggles, he had some struggles and he was coping and dealing with some issues, kind of fallen by the wayside, like we all go through difficult periods. And he said he was laying in bed one night and he felt like something was in his apartment. And he saw the bedroom door open and he looked, but there was no one there. And then all of a sudden, he had a little gray ET being came through the doorway. And he said he had wrinkly skin, very thin. And at first he was very frightened. Um, sorry, I thought somebody was here. I apologize. At first, my friend, he said he was very frightened. And he said he couldn't move. And the little ET was communicating to him and was telling him that he needs to give up his vices. Basically, he had a problem with drinking a little bit. And he said if he does not change, he will not evolve and ascend. He will be stuck with the old earth. So that really shook him up. He was visited, he was shown the new earth. He said the little ET had touched his forehead, and he said he saw a vision of the new earth, or what the earth was before it descended into the past, into this third dimensional planet. He was shown how beautiful it was and the amazing nature. And he said that is what it will be like once this shift happens. So he was shown that by this little gray ET. He said he was fully conscious. He was not sleeping. He was completely conscious when this happened. It was just basically a warning to him that he needed to wake up, to stop doing this. So that was pretty amazing for him and his experience. I don't know if I want to say any more on that. Basically, that was about it, but that was pretty amazing. That was an amazing experience, he said. My brother, no. As many of you know, my brother had passed away back in the end of 2018, but my brother had a lot of physical ailments, physical problems, and health. So he was in disability. This was a few years ago, but probably about 2 or 3 years before he passed, he was in his bedroom laying in the bed. And he had his TV, the TV screen was on, but it was like the gray screen, like if you're watching a movie or something and the screen is still on, but it's just like a light gray screen. So he was laying there and he said he felt presence come in his bedroom, and he saw three beings, and his eyes were open. He was conscious, but he got really freaked out because he didn't know what was going on. And he said they came into his room and he could see their shadows, these ETs, in front of the TV. And he said they were probably about 5 feet tall, 4.5 to 5 feet tall. They were like a gray, like a Zeta or the gray. And he said that they were touching him and his arm, and he had put his hand on the arm, and he got really scared, and he said, but then all of a sudden he felt this very calming energy come over him, and he got really relaxed. And he said they were using some kind of tools, or he saw like a light wand or something, and it was going over his body, and they were looking in his mouth, and he said they were checking his whole body out. And he said that they were trying to help. That was what they were telling him. But he felt really calm when they were doing this, because he felt a sense of calmness come over him. And he goes, their skin felt like almost like not sandpaper, but it was like almost a rough material. Not like our skin is very soft and smooth usually, but it's more of like a rough material. He said the best he could describe it was like an elephant skin, even though he didn't know what it felt like. But that would be about the best thing he could describe it as. So he had that experience, and he said they were here just to explain, to try to help him with his pain level and his health, and that they were doing it because of out of love and the connection he had with them. Um, that only happened a couple of times. They came in his bedroom like that. So that was his experience. Now, I am already at 25 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off here, and then I will go into my experiences because I have several. Little experiences to one really big experience that I had with other people that I'll share. So I will go into that in the next second part to this video, and I apologize, this is already long, but I wanted to really give you a background on the Earth experiment that we are all are a part of. And everybody is a hybrid body. There are those of us who, like I said, are still star seeds that are actually from these other races who incarnated here to decide to help with this as well, because it's a learning experience for many of the other, us star seeds that have come from other races. It's a learning experience to deal with this conflict. Okay, so we could take that back to our civilizations and teach, basically. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. God bless you all. I love you all. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. I will happy to answer other questions out of this book if you want, or relating to my brother's experience or my friend that is in Chile. But anyway, thank you all. Much love. God bless.